The alien queen sat on her golden throne, high above the chamber of her empire's war council. Her crown glowed with jewels that shone like stars, and her soldiers bowed before her as if she was a living goddess. She ruled with fear, with beauty, and with a voice that cut through stone. That night, the whispers had returned, the whispers of humans. The court elders had spoken of them again, calling them a race of warriors that once burned across the galaxy like wildfire. Some said they were immortal, others said they were demons wrapped in fragile skin. The queen laughed, her silver eyes flashing with amusement. "Humans are fantasy," she declared. Her voice echoed across the hall. A story told to frighten children, a legend of the weak turned into a myth of the strong. Her generals laughed with her, pounding their armored fists on the stone floor. The entire court joined in mockery. But not all faces were smiling. In the shadows, one old commander kept his head low. His scars ran deep, marks of battles fought in forgotten places. He remembered something the others did not. He remembered the fall of a world, long ago, where humans had once stood. Still, he stayed silent. The queen's pride was absolute. She believed her empire unshakable. She believed the galaxy belonged to her kind alone. Then came the messenger. A thin soldier raced into the chamber, his breathing sharp, his armor dented as if he had fought through storms. He fell to his knees, bowing low before the queen. "My queen," he cried. "The outer colonies are burning." The hall grew quiet. The generals frowned. The queen tilted her head, her silver hair spilling like a river across her shoulders. "Burning?" she asked calmly. "By whose hand?" The soldier trembled. His voice broke as he answered. "By them. The ones we were told do not exist. Humans." The hall erupted in laughter once again. Many jinner. All shouted, calling it madness. Others mocked the messenger, saying he was weak, but the soldier's eyes were wide, filled with fear so real it silenced them. He spoke again. "I saw them, I swear it, small in number, but unstoppable. They fight with fire in their hearts. Their ships cut through ours like knives through cloth." His voice shook as he repeated the name. "Humans." The queen rose from her throne. Her long robes swept across the chamber. She walked closer to the messenger, each step echoing like thunder. She bent low, her cold face inches from his. "You dare bring children's tales into my court?" she whispered. Her voice was soft, yet sharper than a blade. The soldier shivered, but held his ground. His words, though broken, refused to die. "They are real, my queen," he whispered back, "and they are coming." The chamber fell silent. For the first time, the laughter faded. The queen straightened, her pride refusing to bend. She turned to her generals and raised her hand. "Prepare the fleets," she commanded. Her silver eyes gleamed with fury. "If these humans wish to step out of fantasy and into reality, then let them learn the truth." Her soldiers roared in unison, but somewhere deep inside the chamber, the old commander with scars closed his eyes. He alone did not cheer. He alone knew that the queen's pride had just awakened something she was not ready to face. For the first time in centuries, the name of humanity had been spoken in the heart of her empire, and for the first time, the queen's throne no longer felt untouchable. The alien queen stood at the edge of her palace balcony, her eyes stretched far into the void where stars burned like silver embers. Behind her, the generals moved restlessly. Their laughter from the night before had faded, replaced now with quiet whispers. Reports had spread across the empire like fire through dry grass. Entire patrols missing, colonies silent, merchant ships never returning, and in every broken story, one word kept repeating: humans. The queen's pride refused to bend. She ordered her fleets to investigate. She told her council that no shadow from the past could threaten her throne. Yet in the cold of her heart, a seed of unease began to grow. Her first sign came on the third day. A battlecruiser limped back from the outer rim, its armor torn like paper, engines half dead. Only a handful of survivors crawled out, their faces pale with fear. One survivor was brought before her, a young captain with blood on his armor and smoke still in his lungs. He knelt in the great hall, his voice weak, but his eyes sharp with memory. "They are real," he said. "They fight like no other. They move faster than we can. They strike where we are weakest, and they do not run." His voice cracked as he whispered the name again. "Humans." The court stirred. Some mocked him as they had mocked the messenger, but others fell silent, their eyes no longer full of laughter but of unease. The queen raised her hand and silence returned. She walked slowly toward the young captain, her robe trailing like liquid night. "You fought them?" she asked. Her voice was calm but dangerous. The captain swallowed. "Yes, my queen. We outnumbered them 20 to 1, but they did not fall. Their ships are small, fragile-looking, yet deadly. They tore through us. and even when we struck them down, they kept fighting. They do not surrender." His words echoed, filling the chamber with dread. The queen studied him. Her pride refused to accept fear, but she could see the truth in his eyes. These were not the eyes of a liar. They were the eyes of someone who had looked into the face of a nightmare and returned alive. That night, in the war chamber, her generals debated. Some argued to strengthen the borders, others demanded full war. The queen listened, her silver eyes glowing in the firelight. She thought of the whispers, the stories of a race that rose again and again, even when crushed. Finally, she stood. "Enough," she said. Her voice silenced the storm of arguments. "We will not cower before children's tales. If humans exist, then they will fall like all who dared to challenge us." She raised her hand high. "Prepare the fleets. I will face this fantasy myself." The War Council roared in approval, but outside the palace, fear spread across the empire. Soldiers whispered in the barracks, merchants locked their ships, mothers pulled their children close, and in the shadows, the scarred old commander spoke quietly to himself. "They do not know what is coming," he whispered. "They do not know what humans are." At the edge of the empire, the first sign of true war burned. A small human fleet, sharp as knives and fast as fire, moved deeper into alien space. Each victory was a message, each battle a warning. The legend had awakened, and the alien queen, still calling it a fantasy, had just taken her first step into a war she did not understand. The alien queen's armada stretched across the black sky, thousands of ships lined in perfect formation, each one glowing with the blue light of her empire's power. It was a wall of fire meant to crush anything that dared to face it. Her voice rang through the fleet, cold and certain. "Destroy the humans," she commanded. "Erase their myth once and for all." The soldiers cheered, but their cheers carried more fear than pride. Whispers of vanished fleets and burning colonies had already spread. Still, they trusted the queen. They believed her strength would protect them. Then the stars shifted. From the shadows of space came the humans. Their fleet was small, less than a fraction of her power. Their ships were strange, smaller, darker, built for speed. They did not spread wide. They moved like a single blade, cutting toward her lines. The queen watched from the command bridge of her flagship. Her silver eyes narrowed. She expected them to turn back when faced with her wall of fire, but they did not. They came closer, faster, fearless. "Open fire," she ordered. The void erupted with light, beams of destruction tearing across the stars. Alien cannons thundered, missiles streaked through the dark. The humans should have been crushed in the first storm, yet when the smoke cleared, the human fleet was still moving, faster than before. They weaved through fire like hunters dancing with prey. Their ships slipped past heavy weapons, striking at weak points the Queen's generals never thought possible. One alien cruiser exploded in silence, then another, then three more. Shock spread across the command bridge. Generals shouted, officers panicked. The Queen raised her hand and silenced them all. Her pride burned in her chest, but her eyes sharpened. "These are not demons," she whispered to herself. "These are warriors." On the battlefield, the humans showed no fear. They fought with precision. Each ship worked with the next. Each strike was sharp, cruel, and unrelenting. Even when one ship fell, the others did not retreat. They pushed harder, as if every loss only gave them more strength. The alien fleet tried to regroup, but the humans broke them apart. Small fire teams moved like daggers, slicing through the Queen's massive formations. A single human destroyer dove straight into the center of an alien line, taking 5 ships with it, before vanishing into fire. The Queen clenched her fists. Her empire's power was being tested. Her pride refused to break. She ordered wave after wave, yet the humans never stopped. At last, her flagship locked onto a human cruiser. A shot of pure destruction tore across the void. The ship cracked, its hull burning, yet even as it died, it fired back. The Queen saw it with her own eyes. The broken ship, half in flames, still fighting, still refusing to surrender. For the first time in her reign, a chill touched her spine. She had seen fearless warriors before, but never this. Never an enemy that fought as if death itself could not stop them. Her generals looked at her, waiting for orders, fear in their eyes. For the first time, she saw her soldiers doubt. The Queen raised her hand high, her voice sharp. "Hold the line," she commanded. "We are not broken." Yet her heart whispered the truth she could not speak. The clash in the stars had only begun, and the myth she called fantasy was tearing her empire apart. The prison tower stood at the edge of the palace, its walls made of black stone that shimmered under the twin moons. Inside, the air was cold, damp, and silent. Guards lined the hall, their weapons ready. None spoke, none dared to relax. For inside the deepest cell sat the human, the myth who had killed two of the Queen's champions in a single day. He sat in the shadows, his back against the wall, his hands bound in glowing chains. Yet he did not look broken. His breathing was steady, his eyes sharp. He looked less like a prisoner and more like a wolf waiting for the right moment. The Queen entered the tower with only 2 guards. Her steps echoed against the stone floor. The soldiers bowed quickly, moving aside. No one questioned her. Her golden crown glimmered even in the dim light. But her expression was unreadable. She stopped before the cell and studied him. For a long moment, neither spoke. The human lifted his head slowly, meeting her gaze with calm eyes. He did not kneel. He did not beg. "You should be dead," the Queen said at last, her voice low, filled with both anger and curiosity. "No creature has ever defeated 2 of my champions in one day." The human's lips curved slightly, almost a smile. "I am human. That is enough." Her eyes narrowed, the same words he had spoken in the throne room. They echoed in her mind like a warning. She gripped the bars of the cell, her claws scraping the metal. "Tell me," she demanded, "what makes you fight like this? What keeps you standing when others fall?" He looked at her without fear. His voice was calm but strong. "We fight because we must. We fight for home, for family, for freedom. Even when all hope is gone, we do not stop. That is what makes us human." The Queen felt a strange chill run down her spine. His words were simple, but they carried a weight she could not ignore. For centuries, her empire ruled through fear, but this man's strength came from something different, something she could not control. Her guards shifted nervously, sensing the tension. One of them whispered, "My Queen, he is dangerous. Let us end him here." She silenced them with a wave of her hand. Her eyes never left the human. "You speak as if your kind is special," she said, her voice sharper now. "But humans are weak. Your bodies break easily. Your numbers are few. You are nothing compared to the power of my empire." The human leaned forward, his chains clinking softly. His gaze was steady. Empires fall, queens fall, but a single human can change everything. You laugh at myths, yet you are staring at one. Her heart pounded. She stepped back before she realized it. Her chest tightened, not with rage, but with something she hated to feel. Doubt. For the first time in many years, the alien queen did not feel in control. She turned quickly, her cloak sweeping the floor. "Guard him well," she ordered, her voice sharp. "If he escapes, your lives are mine." As she left the tower, her mind would not settle. The human's words echoed inside her. The myths she had mocked now stood in chains within her palace. Yet somehow, it felt as though she was the one trapped. The queen had built her empire on fear, but now a new kind of fear had entered her heart, a fear she could not crush with armies or crowns, the fear of humanity. The alien queen rose from her throne with fire in her veins. The human's words still echoed in her mind. His eyes haunted her like a shadow that refused to fade. Her pride could not allow it. She swore to herself that she would crush this myth once and for all. She called her war council, the chamber filled with generals, admirals, and high commanders. Their armor clattered as they knelt before her. Fear lingered in their faces. They had seen the human fleet tear through lines that should have been unbreakable, yet none dared to speak doubt aloud. The queen raised her hand. "We will unleash everything," she declared. Her silver voice cut through the silence. "No more tests, no more games. The full might of the empire will fall upon them." Her order rippled across the stars. Within days, her entire armada moved as one. Thousands upon thousands of ships gathering like a storm. A wall of fire and steel, meant to erase any hope of survival. Her empire had not unleashed this kind of power in centuries. The humans came anyway. When the fleets met, the void shook. The queen's ships spread wide, raining destruction in waves. The humans should have been crushed in the first storm, yet they did not fall. Again and again, their small ships darted through the fire, striking deep where no alien dared to strike. Every loss they took only seemed to make them fiercer. When one ship fell, another rose in its place. When a human pilot died, the others fought harder, as if carrying the spirit of the fallen within them. The queen watched in disbelief. Her empire's strongest weapons lit the sky, yet the humans refused to break. Her generals shouted, throwing numbers and strategies across the command hall. But no matter the plan, no matter the power, the humans endured. Then came the moment that shook her heart. A massive alien dreadnought unleashed its full strike. A single human song. Hip was caught in the fire. Flames consumed it. Its hull split apart. Any normal warrior would have fallen, but the dying ship, burning and broken, aimed itself at the dreadnought. It crashed with all the force it had left. The explosion ripped the dreadnought apart. One fragile ship had destroyed a giant. The Queen's soldiers gasped, horror spreading through the hall. The myth had just become truth before their eyes. The Queen gripped the edge of her throne. Her pride whispered to hold firm. Her empire could not show weakness, yet her heart felt the weight of something she had never known. The fear of losing. She ordered another wave, then another. Her fleets swarmed like endless tides, yet still the humans pushed, each strike sharper, each move faster. Their voices cut through the comms, not filled with fear but with fire. Stand strong, never surrender. The Queen turned her eyes to the stars, watching as her empire's lines bent under the weight of an enemy too small to be possible. It was a moment she had never imagined. The unstoppable power of her throne meeting the unbreakable will of humanity, and for the first time, the Queen began to wonder if her pride had led her to the edge of something she could not control. The turning point had come, and though her empire roared with fire, it was the humans who carried the spirit of victory. The alien Queen sat alone in her war chamber. The great walls of crystal and steel reflected the burning light of battles far beyond. Her crown no longer felt heavy with pride. It felt heavy with doubt. Reports came in like daggers. Fleet after fleet lost. Colonies burning. Commanders defeated. The voice of her empire that once thundered across the galaxy now shook with whispers of fear. And always, the same word was spoken. Humans. Her generals no longer laughed. They no longer mocked the stories. Their voices trembled when they spoke. Some begged her to retreat. Others demanded peace. None dared say it outright, but the truth was plain on their faces. The empire was losing. The Queen slammed her hand against the war table. Her silver eyes flashed with fury. "We do not bow to fantasies," she cried. "We do not fear shadows." Her words cut through the chamber, but the silence that followed was louder. She saw it in their eyes. They did not believe her. The legend she had mocked was now more real than her crown. Alone later, she stood at her balcony, staring at the stars that once belonged to her. Now they burned with human fire. She thought of the human warrior she had seen. His eyes, his words. Empires burn, humans endure. The memory struck her like a blade. Her hand tightened on the railing. Her pride whispered she was still in control. Yet her heart trembled. She had seen armies break before. She had seen empires fall. But never had she seen an enemy like this. An enemy that rose stronger each time it was struck down. Whispers reached her palace. In the markets, citizens spoke of surrender. In the barracks, soldiers prayed to ancient gods for protection. Even her royal guard exchanged fearful looks when they thought she could not see. The foundation of her throne was cracking. The old scarred commander, the one who had stayed silent when others laughed, Fissing. Now he stepped forward. His voice was low, steady. "My queen, I warned them once and I warn you now. Humans are not a story. They are a truth written in blood and fire. They cannot be erased." The queen's lips curled in anger. "Enough," she said. "You would place fear above loyalty?" But the old warrior did not lower his eyes. "No, my queen," he answered. "I place truth above lies." The chamber grew cold. For a moment, the queen felt something she had never allowed herself to feel. Not anger, not pride, but the fragile sting of doubt. She walked alone again that night. Her palace felt emptier than ever. The throne that once made her feel invincible now seemed small. Her steps echoed through the silent halls, each sound reminding her of the battles she could not win. In the distance, a colony burned. The humans had struck again, small in number yet leaving scars across her empire. She pressed her hand against the glass of her balcony, her silver eyes reflecting the fire. The legends she had mocked were alive before her. Each victory they won was another stone ripped from the walls of her pride. Her belief in her empire's strength was breaking. Her laughter at old tales had turned to silence, and deep within her heart, though she tried to deny it, the queen knew the truth. Her belief was shattered. Humanity was no longer a fantasy. Humanity was her downfall. The battlefield burned like a second sun. Alien ships drifted in pieces across the void. Human warships, though scarred and broken, still pressed forward. Their engines roared, their weapons blazed, and their voices carried the fire of defiance. At the heart of it all, the alien queen stood aboard her flagship, her silver eyes dark with fury. She had unleashed her full empire, yet still the humans advanced. Her belief was gone, but her pride forced her to fight, for if she surrendered, her throne, her name, her very crown would be dust. "Bring me their leader," she commanded. Her voice cut through the chaos. The order echoed across the comms, and soon, a small human strike force broke through the defenses. Their commander led them, his presence unmistakable. He was the same warrior whose eyes had haunted her dreams. Their ships clashed, fire against fire, steel against steel, but destiny pulled them together, until finally, the human commander boarded her flagship. The chamber fell into silence as he walked through the smoke. His armor was cracked, his blade glowing with heat. Yet his eyes burned brighter than any weapon. The queen rose from her throne, tall and fierce, her robe flowing like storm clouds. Around her, soldiers trembled, but none dared move. This was no longer a war of fleets. This was a war of truth. They faced each other in the center of the chamber. Silver eyes against human fire, pride against endurance. "You should not exist," the queen hissed. Her voice trembled, though she fought to hide it. "You are fantasy, shadows, nothing but a story." The human stepped closer. His chains were gone, his spirit unbroken. "We are not shadows," he said, his voice steady. "We are humanity, and we endure." The queen drew her blade, its edge shimmering with alien fire. She struck fast, fierce. Her movements were flawless, the dance of an empress of war. But the human met her blow with equal strength. Sparks showered as steel clashed against steel. Each strike was a storm, each step a test of will. The queen fought with rage, but the human fought with something greater. He fought with purpose, with the spirit of countless lives behind him. With every clash, she felt her strength tremble. "Why do you not fall?" she demanded, her voice breaking. "Why do you stand when all should break before me?" The human's eyes locked with hers, burning brighter than the fire around them. "Because we are human," he answered, "and we never stop." The words cut deeper than his blade. The queen staggered, her pride crumbled like stone. She saw in his eyes not just defiance but the truth. Humans were not fantasy. They were real, they were eternal, and they could never be broken. Her blade slipped from her hand. The chamber fell silent. Her soldiers stared in disbelief as their queen knelt, her crown tilted, her silver eyes wide with something they had never seen in her before. Defeat. The human commander stood tall. He did not strike the final blow. His words were sharper than any weapon. "Remember this day, Queen. Humanity is not your story to mock. Humanity is your truth." The silence of the chamber was heavier than battle. The queen bowed her head, her empire shattered not only by war, but by the unbreakable will of a race she had once called a myth, and so the galaxy would remember. The day the alien queen faced the truth in battle. The day she learned that humans were never fantasy. They were the fire that endured.